I'm Marie Brennan, and I'm going to be reading from a novella called Deeds of Men. It takes place in my Onyx Court series of historical fantasies about a fairy court hidden underneath London. It takes place in between Midnight Never Come, the first novel, which is set in the Elizabethan period, and In Ashes Lie, which is set about 100 years later. So this one is in the early part of the 17th century. Red Cross Alley, London, 2nd of June, 1625. They found him in a narrow alley, within smelling distance of the riverside wharves and the pestilential tenements that crowded them, with his throat slit from ear to ear. Sir Michael Deven knelt in the muck, not caring that he ruined the knee of his breeches, and bit down hard on a knuckle to hold back tears. The long, gangly limbs sprawled without grace, like a child's doll thrown aside. Even in the poor light, occluded by the overhanging jetties of the buildings on either side, the rich green taffeta of his doublet gleamed incongruously bright, a spot of elegance and wealth in a place that knew neither. Deven noted these details with fierce determination, trying not to acknowledge the bloodless face, the staring eyes, out of which the dreams had gone forever. For the first time in over 6 decades of life, he felt old. Because this is what age is. Not the weakening of the body, nor the dimming of the mind, but your hopes lying shattered at your feet. He forced down the hard knot in his throat and took the knuckle from between his teeth. Truncated strings dangled from the belt, where a purse should have hung. Murdered by a common thief. Begging your pardon, my lord, but I don't think so. The diffident voice was not one he wanted to hear, not when its owner had come to tell him a young man lay dead in a Coldharbour alley. But he made himself look as Mungle sidled forward. The fellow appeared to be a dockside laborer, one of the rough cobs who unloaded goods from the ships into London's voracious maw. A mask, of course, but he wore it well. Mungle went toward the body, with hesitant steps that gave Deven time to call him back. Grimacing, he bent and rolled the head the other way, so the clouded eyes no longer stared in accusation. Mud caked the left ear, but something still hung from its lobe. "Earrings here," Mungle said, "and shoes, and that belt. Worth more than a halfpenny, those would be. Any slower getting here, and you'd find 'em gone. A thief worth its cut would take them." Perhaps the thief was interrupted. "In Coldharbour?" Mungle laughed, then swallowed it guiltily. "Bother! I'd guess they took the purse to make it seem ordinary, but they was no thieves. And look." Mungle lifted one pallid, unresisting hand, stained with blood from a small wound. "Rapier, I'd say. Nicked him on the sword hand. He was fighting somebody, a gentleman." Deven stood, moving carefully against the growing sickness in his gut. Mungle was right. This wasn't simply an unfortunate encounter with a cut purse. The murderer had a reason beyond gold, and Deven knew of only one great enough to suffice. Henry Ware's death was a consequence of the world Deven had brought him into. Which was, in a way, good news, because whichever fairy had murdered him, Deven could and would see the creature responsible hanged. So that is from Deeds of Men, an Onyx Court novella. That is on sale in the Bookview Cafe bookstore in ebook format.